UVARs CAST.
My name is Martin Van Wyk. I'm a director at Seidor Westrocon in South Africa. Last year the whole world had this great pandemic, and we unfortunately embarked on a project right when it started, sort of in South Africa in February 2020. And just after we started and we got going with the customer, South Africa, as most of the world, went into lockdown. And we had to face the perils of doing a remote implementation, for a very highly sensitive customer industry. So Kiar Health, if I can give you a little bit of background. So Kiar Health is a divestment of a very large international, multinational pharmaceutical company. They had the situation that they wanted to divest their local manufacturing facility, but they were already running SAP ECC. And as a result, to make sure that it complies with South African and global regulations around GMP and good manufacturing practices, they had to stick to an SAP product. They also had to do it very quickly because there was a timeline to the divestment, and as you typically know, what happens in these cases is everybody waits till the last moment and they say, okay, we got 5 months or 4 months to do it in. So we originally met with the customer and we showed them S/4HANA and what it can do, and they were really excited about it. I think what happened then is they asked us, how can we make sure this implementation is successful, but also meeting the extremely tight timelines and also meeting the regulatory requirements that they have. So they have to have a validated system in a pharmaceutical context. And they also needed to make sure that they do not lose any manufacturing capability. And as luck would have it, it being the whole COVID-19 disaster, pharmaceutical companies were in high demand, so they could really not afford to lose any production or have a hiccup during their life.
My understanding from previous discussions with you is that they were looking, in essence, to simplify and automate all their processes from product ordering through to production. And I understand that you achieved go live in 4 months and within budget with no disruption to their business, which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that happened?
Yes, as I said, these sort of projects takes two parties to be able to meet the goal, and you have to have a great customer, and you have to have a team that you can really rely on to deliver what was envisaged. So yes, we went live in 4 months, and people will not believe that you can go live with a brand new S/4HANA pharmaceutical, and the full scope was PPPI, production for process industries, quality management, inventory management, materials management, sales, all of those with data migrated from a legacy system. And we managed to do that by sticking to best practices. So the customer was extremely good in aligning and adjusting their business to best practices. And the immediate benefit of that was they could automate their business in places that they didn't know was possible before. So best practices are geared towards automation, and with the Fiori interface is geared towards making customers run their business better and more intelligent. So we deployed all of the embedded analytics to the customer, and they were absolutely, if you're used to ECC and all of a sudden you see all these embedded analytics and these fantastic graphs and the KPIs and those things, and you can get the information that takes you, 5-10 days to gather, all of a sudden you get that in a couple of minutes. Your whole way of approaching your business has improved significantly. So the customers are really over the moon with S/4HANA and the ability to influence the design and to make it fit their business. So I think automation is a big thing. Automation stemmed from using best practices and aligning with SAP's thought processes around that. Implementing simpler processes, there's a lot of simplification we added that gave them the same functionality or more, but in a more simplified manner. We also managed to improve things like their printing and so forth for the barcoding in a way that is still aligned with their requirements, but smoother and quicker and so forth. So for me, I think the secret was using the inbuilt benefits of S/4HANA, embedded analytics, smoother processes, process enhancements, good documentation, good training material. That combination really made the adoption very seamless for the customer.
And I understand that the partnership worked very well. I'd be interested in hearing more about that. But first, I'd like to ask, what was it about you that the customer decided to choose you? So I'll reword that actually. Why did the customer choose to work with you initially?
Yeah, so we have had quite a successful track record. We were the first company to go live with S/4HANA in South Africa. And one of our first customers was another pharmaceutical company that manufactures vaccines, which is a very high-end pharma company in the hierarchy. So they obviously knew about that. At the same time, they wanted a partner that has a global footprint. Our mother company, Seidor, has an office in Spain and all over the world. But to add sort of the icing on the cake, we're also part of United VARs. And United VARs, as you know, is a community of partners across the globe. And having that full access to all of those expertise just helped us get the right sort of profile in the eyes of the multinational pharmaceutical parent company or divesting company that we dealt with. So for me, our unique selling point was our experience in pharma, our experience in S/4HANA, our mid-market focus. So we are focused on doing things quick, but not necessarily taking any corners or cutting any corners, but doing it quickly, professionally, within budget. And I think the other big unique selling point was the security that we have access to the parent company in Spain, but also to a much larger organization called United VARs that has access to all of the other specialists all across the globe, and obviously a very unique relationship with SAP.
And do they have future plans for other implementation projects, or like you said, are they looking potentially to extend the system into other countries?
Yeah, so what we've done as a second phase already is we've rolled out, I think, another 6 companies on the same platform. Those companies are actually various parts of existing companies that Kiara owned and that we just collected together using the power of the S/4HANA platform. They're very well positioned to grow internationally, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have another implementation somewhere else. I also think that in the pharmaceutical community is a very tight-knit community, and for them quality and compliance and those things mean a lot. So I'm sure that this success story will be able to inspire other people that it can be done.